Welcome in this Deploying Node.js Applications on Azure using Microservices, created by Peter de Tender for Pact Publishing. My name is Peter de Tender. I'm based in Belgium, and I'm the CEO and lead technical trainer of a company called 007 FFF Learning, where the focus is providing Azure readiness to customers and Microsoft partners all over the world. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer for a bit more than 10 years, an Azure MVP, Azure Advisors member, and I do have a couple of months background in the Azure engineering team as a program manager. In the little bit of free time that I have, I still keep myself busy with Azure and everything around Azure by writing books, creating courseware, or online video training like the one you started to watch. So it might be a good start to kick in what this course is all about. The course is split up in 5 different sections, where the first module already allows you to really dive in the actual application, where I'm going to walk you through the sample application we have, what it does, and where you can find it, how you can use it in your own time to test out your Node.js knowledge, or maybe if you're totally new into Node.js development, becoming familiar and getting kickstarted. And then obviously, where I'm going to walk you through the different Azure services that you can use to run your Node.js applications. So instead of running them in your own environment, most probably within virtual machines, I'm not going to talk about virtual machines whatsoever, because again, it's all about using Azure services and mainly Azure microservices, followed by a module called Azure Building Blocks, where I'm not really drilling down on everything that's available in the Azure platform, but really starting from the basics. What is a cloud-native application and why should you run it on top of the Azure platform? Once we know how to deploy your Node.js application on Azure in a couple of different ways, I'm going to move over to Module 4, where I'm talking about how can I make sure that my application that I just deployed on Azure is high available. Talking about Azure Web Apps, talking about containers, and again, how you can run them in a high available solution. And then wrapping up this course with, I would say, a more typical approach, how to provide monitoring, where I'll be talking about Azure Application Insights and the Kubernetes dashboard. So a little bit more in detail for each and every module. So the first module, the Node.js sample application. So the main question here is, what is this sample application that we're using and that we're going to build throughout this course and migrating from our on-prem development station into the Azure world? So it's based on a download that you can grab from our GitHub repo, and more on that obviously later on in the technical modules. It's a pretty basic, I would say, to-do application, allowing you to add and delete tasks. It's based on Express, Node.js, and MongoDB as the platform components. The second module is mainly handling the question, what are cloud-native applications and how to develop them? Where we're going to talk about Azure Application Services and more specific Azure Web Apps, talking about the different Azure Container Services, and talking about Cosmos Database. And then in Module 3, we're going to drill down on the specifics for running our Node.js application. So in the previous module, obviously, the main topics are pretty much identical, but it's also covering like the high level, why should I migrate my application into Azure? And then Module 4 is running the same workloads using the same Azure services, but how to make sure that our Node.js application runs in a high available setup on Azure, where Azure Web App high availability will be covered, container orchestration using Kubernetes will be covered, and I'll share some insights on how you can make your Cosmos database on Azure globally redundant. And then the last module, monitoring, already mentioned in the introduction of the course, highlighting built-in Azure Monitor, Azure Application Insights, and wrapping it up with Azure Kubernetes Dashboard. Although the course is an online-based, video-based training, we provide you some hands-on lab guidance and actually quite a lot of demos. Now, obviously, if you want to try those demos out in your own environment, you need some prerequisites. First of all, having an Azure subscription, where easy said, any subscription is a good one. If you don't have any Azure subscription out of your own organization, for example, you could easily start with a trial subscription using an MSDN developer subscription. Maybe you do have a corporate enterprise agreement or working for a cloud solution provider. So again, there are no specific requirements for the Azure subscription as such, and that should get you started. And next to that, your development station can be a Windows 10 or Server 2016 or the latest 2019, a Linux client or a Mac operating system. By the way, I'm going to use Windows 10, and just to show you that it runs on a pretty much any platform, I'm going to mix Windows 10, by the way, using a preview, together with PowerShell, Bash, Azure command line interface, and installing everything else we need on top of my development station. But again, you don't have to use Windows 10 specifically. And honestly, most of the command line integration is identical no matter what client operating system you're using. So besides the operating system itself, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code, Node.js, the MongoDB community server, and Docker Community Edition as well.